Hey everyone, TheBarracuda57 here, once again, with my second interview video. I'm getting more confident at doing these, and not so edgy, so anyway, I've decided to do a video talking about the differences between INFJ and INFP, because in general there are so many mistypes, mistakes, people claiming that they're INFPs, people claiming that they're INFJs and not actually sure what the difference is. It's kind of a response to the video that was posted up a while ago, which has made it on the front page of YouTube and has been the video for many conversations and talks on both INFP and INFJ forums. So I thought, just make a video just to kind of clear things up. Not really to defend myself, but more to explain myself, the types of both INFP and INFJ, and just, make the gap easier and make each of the types definable, more understood. Because to be honest, there's a lot of confusion between the types, but actually there are quite a lot of differences between INFP and INFJ, and there shouldn't be any need to make mistakes between the two. But yeah, hopefully this will make things more clearer. Well, firstly, before I start, the actual poster on the video INFJ Imposters was claimed to be an ESTP. And when he first posted it, I laughed so much because I knew obviously it was a joke. He was having a rant, and yet in the comments at the bottom you would see loads of types saying, "Oh, I'm INFJ, oh, how can you be attacking me like this, how can you be threatening me, and oh, you're making me think differently about my type." I just laughed it off, if anything, because I don't really care. I mean, it's someone's opinion, and I mean, I wouldn't take it personally, because at the end of the day everyone's entitled to their own opinions, which helps show a lot the differences between the INFJ and INFP mindset. Because for many INFP who think they might be INFJ or claim to be INFJ when actually they might be INFP, it's shown that in studies INFP tend to react quite badly and take comments such as that very personally. And because of that, they feel threatened and need to defend themselves. So if anything, the ones who are complaining, feel threatened, withdraw them into themselves and kind of say, "Oh, how could you say that about my type," kind of thing, actually might be the INFPs themselves, whether or not they know they're INFP or don't know they're INFPs. So what I'm trying to say is, if you took that video personally, or you think you're an INFJ and someone says to you, actually you might be another type, and go, "Oh, how dare you say that," kind of thing, you might be INFP, more so than INFJ. Just to clear that up as well. For the next two pictures, I'm going to put up two pictures, two male pictures and two female pictures. One male and female picture of INFJ, and one male and female picture of INFP. So visually just showing you a representation between the differences, just to see if you can see any visual difference. I don't know if you can, but it's all observation at the end of the day, so here they are. I don't know about you guys, if you saw any difference whatsoever, if you were able to see any difference, but I certainly did. I don't know if that's because I'm an INFJ and I see lots of different things summed up in my subconscious when I look at something or think about something. I saw differences, but if you didn't, that's alright. What I've done to help further create the difference is create a list of words summing up both INFJ and INFP. So for example, if you weren't sure which type you were, or if you thought you're one type, such as the INFJ, or maybe thought you're another type, an INFP, this will help probably clear things up a bit more. Okay, here goes. Words relating to INFJ are dominant, laugh, open, reflective, methodical, idealist, private, orderly, creative, resolute, people person, intense, blunt, business, old-fashioned, old souls, inner warmth, protector. Okay? If you liked a lot of those words, you probably might be an INFJ. But, you know, it can swing both ways because you could be either one and still not decide. Anyway, INFP. Weakened. Not in the sense you're weak, but kind of soft personality. So I should say soft. Very personal, shy, inward, deep, imaginative, dreamer, scattered, artistic, gentle, abstract, resourceful person, calming, individual, young dreamer, extroverted aura, and artistic again. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences there, and yes, I do agree with a lot of the INFP stuff as well, but I'd say more so INFJ, to be honest, in my case. I'm not defending myself, I don't need to, but, you know, if you're undecided, again, that's something to think about. I'll put up the list one more time, because I think I said a few words twice there, so I'll put up the list one more time on a black screen just for you to have a look yourself. Well, I hope those descriptions helped, and to help more with the descriptions, if you can't visualize, if you're a visual person more than a mathematical person who reads text, I think a set of pictures would help. So I've selected 5 pictures from the internet which help sum up the INFJ as a whole and sum up the INFP as a whole. Each picture is different, each picture relates a lot to each of the types. So if you like a lot more pictures on one of the types than the other type, you may be that type in comparison. But like I said again, it can swing both ways, because you could like everything that you've seen, or you can like equal amounts from both sides. But, you know, hopefully the gap will be bridged even more if you choose one over the other. Again, this is for people who don't have a clue which type they might be. So, I hope this helps. To further help me with this video, I have 2 INFP friends, 1 girl, 1 boy, and in general we get on quite well. We relate a lot to each other, and yet at the same time we're completely different people, personalities. I know you could say that with any type, yes, that's true. You can say that with any 2 people, because everyone's different, everyone's individual. But I mean, the kind of feeling, the kind of aura, the kind of spirit of difference you have between an INFP and an INFJ. I'm saying this from a detached way, and many other people see this as well. I've spoken to my friends and asked them how they feel the differences as well. And there is a lot of difference between an INFJ and an INFP, as seen in another YouTuber. I forget the name, but I will credit you at the top of the video there, whichever video it was. And he also talked about the differences between INFP and INFJ. And in general, observational wise, if you put an INFJ male and an INFP male next to each other, vice versa, the same with females, you'd see a lot of difference there. I mean, if they both grew up the same, they both engaged in the same things, let's say for example, two brothers, one INFJ, one INFP, you'd see a lot of difference in character, and yet they'd done all the same things, they've been all to the same places, had all the same friends. You'd still see differences. Not just because they're individual, but because of their type. I'm not trying to put types into a box, I'm just saying there is differences there. In the video that I watched, I agree with a lot of the things that he said, and I read up on it recently, and in general, INFJ wise, an INFJ comes across as a strong spirit, quite direct, quite blunt, kind of, there's a fire to them, in the sense, God, I sound really vain there, I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to speak this as detached as I can. It's in the sense that we're idealists, and our emotions come within, our warmth comes within, and even though on the outside we're like brick walls, we're hard as stone, on the inside we have a soft centre, very much like a chocolate bar for example. Hard exterior, hard crunchy exterior, quite strong. On the inside a gooey, warm, kind of, you know, caramel-like base. So, you know, that's us as INFJs. INFP-wise, there's quite a difference again in the spirit, in the kind of aura that you have with an INFP. They're very nice to be with, they're very calm, soft, kind of spirited people. They're dreamers in comparison to INFJs who are idealistic. So we're both dreamers, but yet at the same time we use our imagination for different purposes. So the INFP, spirit-wise, they have feeling externally, whereas an INFJ would think about a situation and feel how the situation will be before doing something, whereas the INFP would go straight into a situation to find out what the outcome is. So there's a difference there in thought, as INFPs have extroverted thinking and INFJs have introverted thinking. So there's a difference there. INFP is also kind of, trying to think how to word it, they kind of have a gentle feel in comparison to an INFJ who has kind of a strong feel. To help back me up further with this, I've got two pictures, also comparison pictures. One of an animation, a very popular Japanese animation, and another of a book / movie which everyone will know. So I'll do the animation first, so a few people who actually follow this animation will actually know what I'm talking about with the character comparisons. And after that one, a very famous book and movie which everyone knows. So if you didn't get the first bit, that's alright, because the second picture will help explain things even more. Yeah, I hope that helped and it bridged the gap even more. Obviously if you didn't get those two references, I've got one more, which is Harry Potter, both a book and a movie. And the differences there are Albus Dumbledore, INFJ, and Luna Lovegood, or Luna Loveheart. I don't really know, I haven't fully watched it, I need to. So, sorry if I got that name wrong, but Luna, blonde-haired girl, yeah, you know the one. She is an INFP. So, even though there are differences in ages there, if you imagine them both at the same age, you still see a difference in personality, both observationally wise, facially, kind of expression. Albus would have a kind of strong presence, whereas Luna has a kind of soft presence, if you understand what I mean. So hope that bridges the gap even more. I recently read also on a forum and an article which helps state and sum up what both types strive to do in life. So again, many people of each type would follow one suit in their life. So obviously for the people who still don't know what type they are, or think that they might be something else different from their type, if they think they're an INFP and they think they might be an INFJ or vice versa, hopefully this will help bridge the gap. You probably should have researched this anyway, but I'm just going to tell you guys anyway, just to help you out. I'll put links at the bottom of the video later to help you figure out comparisons if you need it. Okay, INFJ. We're loud introverts and considered to be one of the most open, chatty of the introverts, almost to the sense that we're extroverted in some sense. I had a talk on the forums with many INFJs and many other introverts, and everyone was saying that INFJs are very open, very friendly, and in some senses lots of people think that they're ENFJs, if anything, because of how extroverted we are as introverts. But that does drain a lot of energy. So yeah, INFJs. INFJs strive to improve the world and the human condition, making systems stronger and better, both in old ways and new ways. They want to be individuals, they're idealists, and idealistic in their thoughts and creations. They live in both the physical and metaphysical world, so that's the dream world and the present world now, and we can constantly go back and forth between them. So like dreamers, like the INFPs, but we can come back into reality when we need to, after daydreaming for example, to create what we need to create or go where we need to go, just by our thoughts. So we're both future and present beings. We understand situations and people in our heads, as we have introverted thinking before doing something, and we judge how we feel on a situation before we go into that situation. We're also future thinkers. Our body language is rigid, quite strong, quite fortified. Our clothing is, as you can see, quite old-fashioned. I hate the idea of dressing up as, you know, people of my generation. I like to be in old clothes, as they say, old souls dress in older style clothes, so that helps to show that as well. So if you dress in very individualistic clothes or older style clothes, you might be an INFJ. As well as coming off as a strong person, having a strong presence, people, you know, think that you're a strong spirit, you might be an INFJ. So, hope that clears things up. You should also research about INFJ if you haven't already, on Google. INFPs. They're more enclosed, not as open as INFJs. They're very quiet introverts, probably one of the quietest, if not the quietest. Don't know what you INFPs think about that. Comment if you want. I don't mind what you say. You're entitled to your own opinion. INFPs are idealistic, but they're more dreamers than idealists, as they love to live in, the world of dreams, as we do ourselves, but they don't come kind of into the metaphysical and physical planes as much as we do. So they have an ideal world in their head, and they assume what the world is like, and the world is everything that they imagine. So a lot of the times they'll come into contact with people, events and objects which are completely against what they imagine the world to be, because they have extroverted thinking. And because of this, the world doesn't live up to an INFP's expectations, so they withdraw into themselves even more, becoming even more quieter and even harder to understand. I'm not, trying to put a downer on you guys as INFPs. I'm just trying to say, that is something which is more consistent in INFPs than INFJs. At the end of the day, we love you all the same. Also, INFP posture-wise, they have a kind of more defensive posture in comparison to an INFJ, and quite a shy exterior, quite gentle. Again, another difference. Their voices are softer in comparison to the INFJ, where the INFJ could be blunt or direct, and also their clothing is different. INFPs tend to have more artistical clothing. They're also individualistic in clothing, but they tend to wear clothes which, go with their inner lives, such as their dream worlds. So they would choose clothing which would be more artistic, colourful, with lots of different patterns, styles and textures, in comparison to INFJ, which would choose an older style, sleek and dark colours really, whereas an INFP would have more colours and kind of artistical clothing. And also in comparison to the idea of the INFJ being a crunchy chocolate bar, I would say the INFP sweet-wise would be more of a marshmallow, in the sense that a marshmallow is quite solid until it has pressure and heat from a campfire or the external world, for example, and when it has too much energy forced upon it, it will change its shape and become softer, very much like the INFP, softer, more liquidy, I guess, kind of more emotional, than the chocolate bar. I mean, the chocolate bar does melt, yes, we are emotional, is what I'm trying to say, but the INFP more so, in the fact that it gets softer quicker than an INFJ would be. So if the INFP, the marshmallow, has too much pressure on top of it, too much heat from the external world, they withdraw into themselves much faster and become in a liquid, more emotional form than INFJs, for example. I'm not trying to stereotype you guys, I'm just trying to say that that seems to be the case more so than not. If you think different to that, then please leave a comment. Yeah, and they need to talk to people in order to understand situations, whereas INFJs, intuitively sum up a situation and a person before going through with it, or talking to that person, whereas an INFP has no idea, because they live in a kind of dreamlike kind of world, which it would be lovely to live in, but in order to actually find out the truth, they need to understand and kind of go through events, people and situations in order to later understand what it was. So basically, like, that's the differences again between INFP and INFJ. INFPs need to process information after doing something, rather than INFJs process information before doing something. So again, another difference between the two. Hey there guys, because this video is running on from either 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I don't know where it is at this stage, I'm going to quickly read out a list of jobs which relate to each type. So if you like jobs more on one side than the other, then you might be that type. Again, this is for the people who, you know, don't know which type they are, so hopefully this will help you further. I'll leave a column and a list of jobs on a black screen after I've read this, just if you know, couldn't hear my pronunciation or you didn't know which one I was saying. Yeah, so jobs for INFJ: clergy, religious work, teachers, medical doctors, dentists, alternative healthcare, practitioners, chiropractors, reflexologists, physiotherapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, counsellors, social workers, musicians and artists, photographers, childcare, early childhood, and development, also landscaping. So yeah, if you liked any of them, there's a high chance you might be an INFJ, but like I said before, it can swing both ways, because you could like both from each type, or you can like an equal amount from one type and an equal amount from another type and still not decide. So INFP. Now for some reason with INFP there's about half the size of jobs, there's much less jobs. But yeah, INFP. Writers and authors, news columnists, counsellors, social workers, teachers, professors, psychologists, psychiatrists, musicians, artists, photographers, clergymen, religious workers. So yeah, there's about half the size there. So either one is quite similar there. That didn't really help much, but also obviously if INFP is half the size and you related everything with INFP and not so much INFJ, there's a high chance you're INFP. What I'm going to do is I'm going to research further after this video and put up a list afterwards showing more jobs for the INFP, just to kind of give it equal weighting really, so it's not unfair. And I'll put it on a black screen, and yeah, you guys just decide from there which section you felt was more appropriate to you yourself. Hey there guys. Yeah, that's it basically. I hope it helped, and I hope it's much clearer for you now. This video was really for the people who are mistyped, as you know, a lot of people get mistyped a lot and don't actually know the difference, but really looking at this video and looking at all the differences between the two, there isn't really any need for excuse really, or there shouldn't be any need to make mistakes or not know which type you are. But it's fair enough if you don't know and you're new to Myers-Briggs, MBTI, because a lot of people take the Myers-Briggs test and sometimes come out with INFJ as the result, sometimes come out with INFP as the results. Yep, that's true. A few of my friends who are INFJ took the test 5 times, and on their 5th time they got INFP instead of INFJ, making them question themselves. In my case, I've taken it 7 times now and it's always come out INFJ. But if it did come out as INFP once, it would make me question myself, which again is why I've made this video, just to help other people who are stuck really. But yeah, there's no excuse to make the mistake. But for you people who haven't found their type or are unsure of their type, you will find your type, don't worry. I mean, it might take a while, but just look at each of the types and decide which you feel you most relate to, really. Just weigh up the options, pros and cons, things you like in one type more than the other type, for example. I shouldn't have to say this stuff, but you know, that's just if you have no clue. But for the people who are pretending to be INFJ and actually know that they're another type, it's very obvious. I mean, in the forums, the way that they type, the posts that they post on the forums, and questions that they ask to fellow INFJs, saying, you know, obvious questions which an INFJ should know anyway, making you think, well, why would an INFJ ask a question like that when the INFJ should know that question anyway, instinctively? Making you think, actually they might be an INFP, or they might be another type, just pretending. So, you know, we can tell quite well, and seeing as we're intuitive anyway, we kind of think, something's weird here. So yeah, I mean, I don't see the point in trying to be something that you're not, because at the end of the day, you're just a fake if you're pretending to be something that you're not. But I'm sure in many cases that's not the case. I'm sure in many cases it's that you're mistyped and you're not sure, which is fair enough. Otherwise, I don't know what you're doing, really. At the end of the day, if I've helped even the tiniest bit, I've done my part. So, I mean, I hope in the end of this you find whichever type you are, and if you already know what type you are, I hope this bridges the gap even more between INFJ and INFP. Thank you everyone for watching, if you watched to the end of this video, because it was a long video. And yeah, have a good one everyone. This is TheBarracuda57, over and out.